I'm Charlotte, and I'm a postdoc now, but I'm going to talk a little bit about my PhD research, which I finished earlier this year. So the kind of broad topic was water histories in South India, and so I used 3 different methods and lots of different disciplines to explore that. We started off with an archival study of the history of cartography, looking at the Survey of India, which is the colonial mapping organization. And then from that, applied geospatial analysis. And then finally, I did some field work in South India. So these are the maps that I used for my project, which was in partnership with the National Library of Scotland. These were produced in the early 1900s by the Survey of India. And there's a lot you can say about colonial mapping, but what is really interesting about these is how well the water was mapped. And I was interested in using this as a kind of environmental record, which I think has been overlooked a little bit in history. And so for the first kind of chapter, I was interested in seeing which of these ancient irrigation resources, irrigation tanks, were still used. So I used these maps as the environmental record and then overlaid satellite imagery, and for each tank calculated a value of how wet it was, essentially to predict or estimate if it was still in use. And then I did a spatial analysis, and the results of that highlighted a cluster here in Coimbatore, which is in Tamil Nadu, close to the state border with Kerala. And these are the irrigation tanks in Coimbatore. So I highlighted through the last kind of analysis that I wanted to go here and see what was actually going on. So here are some photos. These are the irrigation tanks. So they were being redeveloped as part of the Smart City initiative, which is across India, a few cities are being chosen, and these irrigation tanks are being changed in use. And I thought that was really interesting and another side to the story that I wanted to tell. And this is the kind of other side of that Smart City initiative that maybe you don't see on the posters. Not the prettiest side, but I was really interested in exploring the lived experiences of irrigation tanks that were still in use for water and irrigation tanks which were being redeveloped. And so the kind of digital aspect of this, I wanted to create something as well as the academic output that could be translated outside of academia. So with the National Library of Scotland, I built this web application. This is a screenshot from it, but the QR code will be in a minute. So from the first study and my wetness value for each irrigation tank over the study area of the Kaveri River, I, on the left-hand side, showed the kind of wetness indicator, and on the right overlaid current satellite imagery so that you can zoom in and this map will move at the same time. So you can start to explore which of these irrigation tanks might be in use, which have been built over, and you can start to see how the land has changed more recently and through colonial management. And then after my fieldwork, I was so fascinated by the lived experiences and all the people that were so nice that spoke to me in India and explained what they thought about the irrigation tanks. And I thought I really wanted that to be available to lots more people. So I made this web application so you can click on the irrigation tank and this kind of left panel scrolls and there's photographs, and for each person we spoke to, the names have been changed, but what they've said is there. So you can scan this if you'd like to look at it. It is hosted by the National Library of Scotland, and if you're interested in the historical maps, they're also available as a georeference sheet layer at the National Library of Scotland, which is really great. So thank you for having me here, and it's great to have a platform that allows me to do such interdisciplinary work. Thank you.